There's a.
We're done. Because of our closed session. Where's that at? Oh, he made someone do it down here.
Is it here?
Oh. He said it was a chamber thing. He might call this.
Good afternoon, welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is the Marion City Council work session for Tuesday, December 19th, our last work session of the year. All right, first on our agenda this evening is a discussion on increasing the return check service charges. Yeah.
Thank you. As we continue to go through our fines and fees, there's only really one in the finance department, and that is this returned service charge fee. We're proposing we increase it from $25 to $35. It better aligns with our comparables and helps to cost recover when we do have to track one of these down. I will say these are not happening very frequently because there's not a lot of people writing checks anymore, especially since we've implemented rec desk in the park system. So I think it's been less than 12 since 2016, but.
Okay. That seems fairly straightforward. Anyone have any questions or strong objections?
Nope.
Okay, before we proceed, I just want to point out that these gingerbread houses were decorated by the Youth Council on Saturday. They did it as part of a leadership exercise. They did it one-handed. So
They smell wonderful. I'm sitting here smelling gingerbread.
just in
Making
case
me
you're
hungry.
wondering what these are, so. All right, our next item is an update from Lucas on personnel policies.
Good afternoon. So as you know, last year we did our comprehensive update. The first time we updated the employee handbook in a while. And so as part of our routine process, this is the first annual review since we did the mass update last year. And so with that, we did update a few major, what we would consider major updates in the policies. One would be the ATE. When we've installed the ATE cameras, we wanted to ensure that our vehicle safety policy includes the ATE moving violations and ensuring that our employees are aware that that also counts as a moving violation when in a city vehicle. The next one is the cell phone policy. This is on the exempt salary side. I know a couple months ago we sent through the non-exempt or the hourly cell phone policy. This is just the flip side. That's tailored more towards exempt and salary folks. This will, for those that are required to be on call, we are offering a stipend, but the stipend costs less than what it would be to maintain a city cell phone or a city device. So we would see those savings there. The last one is incorporating the ASME handbook. So right now, we have our personnel policies, we have the ASME handbook, and then we have the ASME contract. What we're wanting, or what we're recommending, is merging the ASME handbook and the personnel manual into one, just so we have one policy document. There's no changes on that, so there's no operational updates on that side. It's just primarily moving from two documents to one, so we have that central location for policies. And then with that, we do have a couple minor updates that we've done, just including just some standard operational things, providing more clarification to help with policy enforcement. We did remove the sick leave bonus on the quarterly basis, so those are a few minor updates. So when we were doing this year's handbook review, it was our intention to bring the comp time policies or the comp time revamp effective January 1. As we dove into what all is entailed, primarily our systems are not built well right now to support any type of revamp. And so what we have to do is kind of go in and make sure that they're updated appropriately, and we're taking that time and doing the training. And so with that, we do have a target date of April 1. That'll allow us to have enough time to update those systems. And then with that, a couple other things. Just updating our safety rule book. This will help with any type of workers' comp, any type of just safety awareness, as well as we all know that the next thing we have all three unions are for negotiation this year. And then July 1 will be any type of anything that comes out of the union negotiations for all three unions. Are there any questions?
Questions? Looks like everyone's okay with it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. Next item is the upcoming agenda review. First item that's marked for discussion is on the second page, A7. Are there any items that require discussion prior to A7? Any questions on any item prior to A7? Okay, I will just discuss A2. I just want to just say a few words about that. Since taking office as mayor 8 years ago, I first appointed Joe Spinks as the mayor pro tem for 2 years. He was also one of the candidates for mayor that year, and he served very well in that position. And then after that, my policy has been to switch out the mayor pro tem every year to allow every council member to have that opportunity and to serve in that role. And so we've been doing that annually. And the two people on this council currently who have not served are Councilmember Menser and Councilmember Muskimen. So that's the reasoning behind these appointments. Everyone else up here has had that opportunity. So Gage, you'll have a year to learn the ropes while Sarah handles it, and then you'll take over after that for a year or so, and then we'll go from there. See where we are and make additional appointments. So that's the reasoning for that. If there are any questions or concerns about that method, I guess people can, I'd be happy to take your input. Otherwise, we'll move on to A7 with Leanne.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a resolution that would extend our task order with Tidal Basin, which is the company we're working with on our derecho FEMA public assistance grant with FEMA. Just wanted to provide a quick update on where we're at with those projects. The two highlighted in green are currently in FEMA final review. So once FEMA completes their final review, they will release payment. I did hear from Iowa Homeland Security last week that 1.87 million project is really, really close to the end of that cycle. So we will be seeing that reimbursement come through any day. The three highlighted in gold, the state is currently compiling the final documentation that they then submit to the FEMA to go through the final review process. And then the one in orange is the one that Tidal Basin is actively working to assemble right now. And I just wanted to give that brief update and see if council had any questions.
All right, questions for Leanne? You know, if Grant were here, he'd have some questions. No questions? All right, thanks, Leanne. The next item that's marked is on the third page under public safety. Prior to that, any questions on the remaining items on the first page, on the second page, sorry? All right, what about A12? Any questions on A12? Okay, C1, Chief Fagan, C1 through 3.
Good evening, council. This first item that we're going to speak about this evening is for approving a contract for rescue equipment. This purchase amount is actually within the purchasing authority within the manager's office, but we wanted to bring it to your attention for the funding source behind this purchase. The funding source is coming from a donation by a longtime Marion resident, Ruth Drips. This past summer, she donated $20,000 to the city of Marion to be used for rescue and life-saving equipment. And so we've identified these rescue tools to be purchased using those funds. And so we wanted to bring that to the community's attention and to honor her and her family. We have been in communication with the law firm representing her trust. And there is a possibility that co-trustees Mike and Joe may be here Thursday. And so we'll bring it to that attention as well at that time.
Awesome.
Any questions about the purchase?
Nice gift. Okay. Next item?
Yes, these next two items are for emergency repairs that are underway for fire equipment. This first one is for Fire Engine 93, which is receiving an engine overhaul. Those repairs are underway. This is a 9-year-old fire engine. The repairs are anticipated to be completed this week, and it has to be pump tested before it can come back to service, but we believe that that will be completed this week and it should be back in service very quickly.
Any questions on that? Okay.
Next item is for another emergency repair to our other reserve fire apparatus for the water pump. The water pump's used to pressurize water to be used for fire suppression activity. And so that repair will be completed after the first of the year, estimated at this amount. I can answer any questions that you have on that repair as well.
Any questions? Yes, go ahead, Paige.
Did you mention the age of that one?
Yes, I apologize, 24 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And this is the apparatus that will be replaced upon the delivery of our replacement in the late summer.
Okay, that's right. Thanks.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor.
Right.
Chief, can you just, I think it's important for the council and the community to hear a little bit about some of the collaboration that has increased with the fire department and public services. So can you speak a little bit about Andrew and the work that he's been doing?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ryan. So over the past year, we've been collaborating with the Public Services Department, specifically the fleet technicians that are there to really dig into our maintenance program for emergency fleet services. And so one of their service technicians, Andrew Jensen, recently achieved an EVT certification, which is a third-party credentialing process to certify him to work on emergency equipment. And so this is a program that is going to bolster and enhance our maintenance program for our fleet as we move into the future. Not only will we continue to support him, but others within the fleet technician program within the city to continue to improve the maintenance program for the fire department and other vehicles as well.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
Just a question. So have you had 2 engines out of commission at the same time?
We
And
do.
what impact has that had on your service?
So we are currently at 0 reserve status. And so our neighboring agencies are aware that if we have another engine that goes down, we would be requesting, emergency support. We do still have engine 92 that was used for the training academy for our cadets. It's been completely offloaded of all of its equipment and hose. But if it needed to be put into an emergency status to transport firefighters, it could. So, but this is another good reason of our new replacement cycle, and that we were able to get a stock unit purchased and replaced this year instead of the waiting time for 4 years to get that rig here.
No, go ahead.
Thank you. Chief, you had mentioned the collaboration with public services. I know we had been using Cedar Rapids. One of their technicians or several of their technicians have been certified with Pierce. Will this individual then replace some of the services that we've actually had to send our trucks down to Cedar Rapids for that. Is that what part of this will do then for us?
Yes, that has already been happening, and we've seen a shift of internal repairs versus outsourced repair costs. And so there still is, the internal cost of doing those repairs, of course, but we are seeing that shift in cost savings already.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Chief. All right, the remainder of that page and the entire next page. All the way to, well, let's just go for the remainder of the general consent agenda. Any items? Any items for discussion there? Okay, then on the abstention, consent agenda, are there any questions there prior to E3? All right, I'll turn over the meeting to the Deputy Mayor Pro Tem for E3.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mike.
So I just wanted to walk through this MOU because this is not a typical one, and just kind of highlight some of the major components of this MOU. So this is a good representation of the public-private partnership that we can have with the developer. So what we're doing is, this is Albernet Road, the red section in here. So with Midwest Development wanting to do this, typically what the requirement is when you final plat something, you have to have all improvements adjacent to that improvement done with that. However, since we will be under contract building the bridge, we would rather have that area for a staging area. That way we don't destroy that new street that's gonna be built. And so the first thing we're doing is deferring those improvements until after we get the bridge in, and then we'll have them fill that gap. So they have a time period that once we kind of say, okay, we're far enough along, then they'll start building the rest of Albernet Road to connect it. The next thing it does is this entire area over here actually gives that to us as a staging ground because they're not gonna be ready on that east side for that multifamily area that they had proposed at one time. So that's gonna be kind of on hold to give us an area for staging. That's a much better location to stage for our bridge work rather than taking up our precious parkland and using Willow Park as our staging ground. So they're willing to allow us to use that area as our staging ground. And then we have the area that's in purple. This is actually for Indian Creek Trunk Sewer Segment 11. And so eventually that's area that they will deed over to the city that's floodplain, but it's not deeded yet. And so they're gonna go ahead and give us a blanket easement over that, knowing that they're gonna give that to the city at some point anyways, so that we can go and proceed with our trunk sewer project. So there's a few moving parts on it, so I just wanted to make sure everyone kind of level set and understood what we were doing. But we feel it's a win-win for everyone, so.
Any questions, comments? All right, thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Any discussion on the final items under this section? Anybody? Nope. All right, I'll turn it back to the mayor.
All right, D1. Mr. Sashel.
Yes, so just wanted to note on this change order, we did go visit WebTech on Monday. This change order just includes some additional work that we just didn't previously seen, and then with just safety concerns underneath, and then also just upping the specs for the paint since it's going to be out in the sun more, so more UV protection. As part of this agreement, WebTech did agree to hold the caboose up until the park development. So just want to provide some feedback as far as what this change order actually is for.
Were you satisfied with the progress being made?
Yes, we took a lot of pictures on Monday, and so we're hoping to be able to share with the general public some of those pictures and updates with it. So it's they're doing quality work. It's quite amazing when you go up and see a lot of the details being placed on there. Just the metal work that they're doing is tremendous.
That's good to hear. Any questions for Seth? Okay, the next page. The next item marked as F1 under community development. Any items under the engineering section that require discussion? Any questions? All right, we'll move on to F1. Dave?
Yeah, this is just a little correction, we identified within the code. We had a recent inquiry regarding sexually oriented businesses in town. And, when we started looking at 263 of the code, we just came across a little conflicting language between our zoning ordinance and chapter 263. So the highlighted portion on the screen, we're just adding some language that will get those two chapters of the code in sync with each other, and no confusion or conflict between them.
Questions? Okay, F2, Nicole?
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. So Medicine Custom Homes is seeking approval of exterior alterations to 631 9th Street. That is in the Uptown area and is zoned U1, so it is required to go through the corridor review process. A part of the project is the exterior appearance, and that is considered a substantial improvement per our code regulations. So with this request, they are proposing to remove the door on the south side of the building along 6th Avenue. Within the corridor review, a lot of the review process is not applicable. We are not looking at any building form changes. They aren't doing height, nothing to the parking lot. The only aspect of this request is removing that door. They did apply for, and I believe it's been issued, a building permit for the remodel on the interior side of the building. During that review process, we learned that a conference room will be located on the other side of where that pedestrian door is. So that is the reason for wanting to remove that door. Within the central corridor review, the main part that we are focused on in this request is the architectural style and facade materials. Again, the door being removed is along that 6th Avenue side. It's about 5 feet wide by 7 feet tall, and they'll replace the opening with matching brick. So it's a Shenandoah Acme brick that should blend in seamlessly with what's there today. The brick being matched in, it does meet the central corridor code for earth tone muted colors. And then the building department and fire departments have both reviewed the interior remodel of this building and have stated that pedestrian ingress egress is not required for the current use of the building. So they're okay with this access being removed. Staff mailed out 37 postcards to adjacent property owners within 300 feet. We have not heard any responses back, and no one was at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to state any concerns or comments in favor of or in opposition to the request. The Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, they did approve the request 8-0. Questions?
It's pretty simple. Any questions? All right, thanks, Nicole. Next item is vacant building policy. Gary?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Today we're here to talk about the vacant building policy. We've been all over the ordinance. This is going to tell us how to enforce the ordinance. It defines vacant buildings and neglected vacant buildings. And it will be for all vacant buildings. There are some exceptions, buildings for sale. Obviously, we're not going to have any, we've talked about that. Buildings damaged by fire and natural disaster, and then residents leaving for an extended period of time. They are traveling for work, or if they're going south for the winter, whatever the case might be. So the expectation is that the owner will submit a registration for the building. If the building is deemed neglected, then they have to have a plan for repairs, rehabilitation are going to be required as well. Fees are going to be required unless it falls under one of the exceptions. And the expectations of the policy is that the owners will keep the properties up, they will keep it mowed, keep it shoveled. Exterior painted and in good condition. We want it to look appear like it's occupied, whether it's a building, a commercial building in the uptown area, or if it's somebody's home, we want it to look like it looks like it's supposed to. And then if the building is kept in good order, and they've had no problems with them, then they can also renew that annually if they need to. So and we're recommending, and we've sent out 40 some postcards to people who have residents that have vacant buildings, and I have not heard back from anybody that is not in favor of it. So
Okay, I think it's a great idea. Anyone have any questions or concerns about that, or? Randy?
I just have a comment. I was on this committee with Gary. I just want to extend a thank you to him and your staff and all the participants that worked on this. I know this has been revised several times. There was a lot of great dialogue, questions that came back from people that were interested in this particular area. I think it's going to be a great overlay for our city, our community. It's going to protect our public service departments when we know we have vacant buildings in the area. And then also gives us a little bit of foresight to know if we need to pay a little extra attention to those that are unoccupied for any other types of activities. So again, just want to extend a thank you, Gary, to you and your staff, and let everyone know that I'm certainly excited about moving forward with this as well.
thanks.
Appreciate the proactiveness. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the closed session.
Mayor, I move to adjourn to closed session regarding litigation as permitted under section 21.51C of the Code of Iowa.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn to closed session regarding litigation as permitted under section 21.51C of the Code of Iowa. Discussion. Okay, may we have the council statement, please?
Thank you, Your Honor. I have reviewed the proposed subject matter for the closed session and find the same to be appropriate under Iowa Code Section 21.51C.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Miskman,
Yes.
Mr. Jensen,
Yes.
Mayor Abu Wassili,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Ms. Menzer,
Yes.
Mr. Sterned.
Yes.
Thank you. We're now adjourned to closed session. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on Thursday.